91-year-old gets harassed by 3 bikers, then stands up and takes the ultimate revenge. Some people are inherently malicious, driven solely by their desire to engage in harmful behavior. Conversely, there are those who radiate charm and have captivating tales to share, with many elderly individuals falling into the category of being genuinely kind and benevolent. Regrettably, this inherent sweetness and kindness often make them the prime targets of those with ill intentions. Amongst the realm of writers, you'll find those who exude friendliness, working diligently to support the less fortunate. While they may occasionally come across as stern and unapproachable on the surface, beneath it all, they are truly exceptional individuals. Now, let me recount the story of a group of bikers who appear menacing and unkind, and who derive satisfaction from disregarding an elderly person. Little did they know, fate had a surprise in store for them in the form of a classic car seeking revenge. Paul was a 91-year-old man who decided to go to a quiet roadside restaurant for something to eat. He was minding his own business when a group of 3 cyclists entered. Paul looked up when he saw the men approaching and went back to enjoying his apple pie and coffee. He just wanted to enjoy his food in peace, but the bikers had other ideas. After exploring the place and assuming that Paul was the weakest of the group, one of the motorcyclists approached him. He didn't say a word to Paul and stubbed out his cigarette on Paul's apple pie. After doing this terribly rude thing, he sat down at a table in the far corner of the diner too. The biker looked at Paul and went to his table. He cleared his throat and spat into Paul's coffee. It was incredibly disgusting and left Paul with nothing edible or drinkable. After spitting into Paul's coffee, he went to his friend in the back of the restaurant. As the 3rd motorcyclist approached Paul, he picked up his plate and threw it on the floor, shattering the glass. The motorcyclist laughed and joined the rest of his group. Paul kept his cool throughout this affair, rather than getting angry or scared. He got up and walked to the counter. He paid for his coffee and his cake and walked out of the restaurant. The motorcyclists nearby saw him go and burst into hysterical laughter. For some reason, they found it hilarious to embarrass and humiliate someone twice their age and half their height. They felt like the kings of the world because they could spoil an old man's meal. He had never seen them in his life, and he didn't bother them when they came in. However, for some reason, they chose him to go after among all the diners. Now, after Paul paid for his food and left, he didn't say a word to the motorcyclists, and he didn't look in their direction. He just left. At that point, the cyclists thought they had won. They felt really tough because they could chase a cute old man out of a restaurant when all he wanted to do was enjoy his cake and coffee. The waitress had seen it all, and the last thing she wanted to do was take orders from the motorcyclists because that was her job. Even though she knew she had to suck it up and get to their table before she even had a chance to ask them what they wanted to eat. One of the cyclists looked at her smiling. He said he wasn't really a man. The busy waitress looked at the cyclist with disgust. She looked out the restaurant window, and her disgusted expression turned into a very bright smile. She told the cyclists, "He's not much of a truck driver either, as he was just backing up on your 3 motorcycles." The 3 cyclists ran to the window and saw their 3 bicycles on the ground. They had been crushed by the weight of the old man's truck. Anyone who knows anything about motorcyclists understands motorcyclists love their bikes more than anything. They live for their bikes. Most motorcyclists even revere their bicycles. The biker bike is essentially an extension of that. When you hear a motorcyclist riding a bicycle, you hurt their souls. The old man in the restaurant knew it, so he decided to hurt the motorcyclists where it would hurt them the most. Destroying their bikes was the sweetest revenge in the world. By the time they realized what the old man had done, he had been in his truck for quite some time. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't catch up with him because they had no bikes, no way to chase him because he was in a truck. The motorcyclists couldn't follow him. He knew he would go home free. Paul is the perfect example that no matter how big, bad, and tough you think you are, don't take it out on the little guy. Paul may not have injured the bikers physically, but he hurt them in an even worse way. He could only hope that this would teach these bikers that you can't just bully people, young or old. Unfortunately, they probably didn't learn a lesson after this incident. It probably made them meaner and angrier. So, the moral of this story won't come down to people. You never know what they are capable of. The bikers in this story did more than upset Paul and came across as fools. They gave cyclists a bad name. Not all motorcyclists are so mean. Not all cyclists are angry. There are some very good bikers who work hard to help others, as we have shown in our several videos. I have met many motorcyclists who are involved in clubs. They organize fundraisers to give something back to the less fortunate. Their whole family has a picnic, and they welcome the public. Paul's actions that day were undeniably courageous. He not only demonstrated that one should never underestimate the resilience of the underdog, but he also etched his name in history as the 91-year-old who stood up to 3 motorcyclists and exacted the ultimate revenge. If you were faced with a similar situation as the one Paul endured, how would you have reacted? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.